Hello there, my very good friends. Andy here for What Culture Wrestling, and on today's news, we're going to talk about the major WWE star who has just signed a monster new deal. We're going to talk about the other major WWE star who says they want to retire in the company. We will go over how WWE is looking after the family of the late Bray Wyatt, and we'll also talk about a very interesting AEW trademark application that maybe might lead to something pretty cool. I'm Andy, this is the news, second last video of the year. I'm here solo today, I'm here solo tomorrow, and then I'm pissing off for a couple of weeks. Sorry about that, or maybe enjoy that, I don't know. But let's start this one off by talking about a major WWE star who has signed a huge new contract, Charlotte Flair. This is a report from Fightful. It broke yesterday or last night. Charlotte has signed a huge deal. It's a contract extension. She's going to be in the company for several more years. Now, this came together actually before the Ray and Dominic Mysterio deals that we talked about yesterday on the news. And those were signed supposedly in November. So maybe November, maybe October for Charlotte. Who knows? But that doesn't really matter. She is signed is what matters. Medusa had actually said on her podcast not too long ago that this had happened, that Charlotte had signed a new deal, but it took a while for people in WWE to hear about that. So it's pretty interesting. She has got a huge money interest. What am I talking about? I'm an idiot. She has had a huge money increase, is what my stupid mouth was trying to say, Charlotte has, to the point that she is now one of the highest paid women in WWE history. And on top of that, she's got a bus. Cool. She's got a travel bus to go from show to show, which is becoming more common amongst wrestlers. Cody, of course, has one, which Pharaoh probably drives. I don't know. But I'm not sure if that was part of his contract or whatever, but you know, it's there. And it seems like this is becoming a fixture in certain contracts. Of course, travel, typically for wrestlers, sometimes it's, hey, fend for yourself, despite, you know, companies making them high ball all over the country every single week, go from coast to coast, up and down, north to south, stay in hotels, book flights, blah, 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 blah. I'm sure something like this really takes the burden off of that, particularly if you don't have to drive it yourself. That'd be a bit of a pain in the ass, but hey, look, shout outs to Charlotte Flair. She's injured at the moment. She tore her ACL, MCL, and meniscus the other week. She's going to be out for the best part of a year. So that sucks for her, but the new contract is really good, obviously. I know she's not everyone's cup of tea, right? Yeah, sometimes her presentation, particularly when she's a babyface, is a little bit off. That being said, when she's on her A game, she's one of the best. Look at the match with Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania as the most recent example of that. Sensational stuff. One of my favorite WWE matches of the year. Probably like one or two, actually. Like really, really high up. And Charlotte is a very important part of this company in general. Whether you prefer other wrestlers or not, she's continually positioned in a high spot in her division, in her lane, and WWE really values her, as is evident with this contract. Big money deal, one of the highest paid women's wrestlers in WWE history, and she deserves it. All wrestlers deserve it. This is a very underpaid industry, going down from the indie level all the way to the top. When you look at WWE and AEW wrestlers and any major company, just name one, the percentage of revenue that goes back to wrestlers in terms of salary is very low, and compared to other sports, it's dwarfed, really. That's not the base money amount, by the way, although that would be in line. It's the percentage, so it's applicable to all companies, big and small. That kind of sucks, but people getting just rewards for participating in what is a very difficult and grueling profession, as evidenced by the injury that Charlotte's picked up. To me, this is good, more for the workers, more for the beleaguered independent contractors of this strange but wonderful but also chaotic industry. Let's talk about another major WWE star who might be inking their future to the company soon. Well, it's Becky Lynch, and she says she wants to retire in WWE, so probably going to sign a new contract. This is a pretty interesting one because Becky's deal has been reported to be expiring next year, along with the likes of Sheamus and Drew McIntyre and probably a few others that I'm forgetting. To me, of that group, Becky always seemed like the most likely to stay. Not that the others aren't likely to stay, but she's really entrenched in WWE. She has criticised the booking a little bit this year, but at the same time, she's a top star there. Her husband's there, for goodness sake. The companies look after her. They've positioned her really well at times. I can't really see many reasons why she would want to depart there. But she's been on Stunting with Gorilla, and I've got a long-ass quote from Becky to read you. I will trip over words because I'm a mealy-mouthed moron, but forgive me, we're going to go through this. Here's Becky. Look, growing up, WWE is what I watched. It's what I loved. It's the reason I became a professional wrestler. Now, having been in it, I love it, I love it. I love the people, I love the audience, and I love being able to have been an important part of change. And I love that I get to continue to drive that and that my voice matters in WWE. I think she likes where she works. Fair play. I feel listened to, and I feel like we have been able to change the landscape of women's wrestling forever. And that feels very special to me. It's my home. It's where I really was. Kind of where I was born as a professional wrestler in many ways in terms of my influence, and it's where I will retire. So, to me, that sounds pretty decisive. Now, obviously, if she hasn't re-signed yet, the situations can change, but it doesn't sound very likely to me. So, yeah, look, I mean, it's been a very solid year for WWE, and solid doesn't really do it justice, obviously, in terms of the crowd connection and the business success and the creative, vast improvements on the last couple of years. In fact, I think if you look at where WWE's relationship with its audience was in, say, 2019, 2020, when there were beach balls and CM Punk chants and what chants every single week, and a real disconnect there to where they are now. It really is night and day. So shout outs to Becky. I can absolutely see why she would want to stay there forever. I mean, she's going to get a fat contract somewhere at the end of this. And I like the words as well about how she feels seen and listened to and everything else, because she did a couple of interviews maybe like 3 or 4 months ago where she was like, hey, why aren't more women on TV? Where's Zoe Stark? What's going on over here, over there? Perhaps that's been acted upon, just kind of reading between the lines, which is always a good thing, forming a strong relationship with your employees, listening to their concerns, acting where appropriate. So hey, look, shout outs to everyone out there getting paid and just killing it in pro wrestling, having a good time, having good careers. Looking forward to seeing what comes in the WWE Women's Division in 2024. Let us know down in the comments section below what you want to see from Charlotte, what you want to see from Becky, what you want to see from Damage Control, everyone else. Throw it down there, comment section. Right, we're going to move over to the late Bray Wyatt here, and some words from his father, Mike Rotunda. It's just nice. This is nice. Mike was on the Wrestling Talk podcast, and he confirmed that WWE has placed Bray on a Legends contract, meaning that all the proceeds are going to go to his children. So WWE are looking after the family of one of their own who tragically passed away under the most just devastating circumstances this summer. It was a really difficult thing to go through, I'm sure. I mean, look, we had a hard time with it, obviously, as fans and as content creators and everything else, but if you know the guy and you work with him and you're a family member, you're a friend, whatever, and he just passes away at 36, he's a father, he's a wife, he's a son, he's a sibling, really, really horrible, horrifying story. So I'm really glad to hear that the company's looking after him. A Legends deal typically is the kind of thing they would give like somebody who's coming in to make part-time appearances, stick them on some kind of retainer. I guess there's usually some merchandise stuff in there, and for them to do that to Bray, it just ensures his kids are going to be looked after throughout the duration of that contract. So it was very heartening to wake up and read this, honestly. Now, you would have expected something like this in general, and you'd imagine things go on behind the scenes that you don't hear about, where JoJo and everyone else are looked after. But it's nice to hear that Mike wanted to take this public and say, hey, there's a Legends deal in place. It's a good thing across the board. So look, horrible, horrible year for that family, of course. There's not really a whole lot more to say than what we've already said about Bray Wyatt. One of the most creative people in the history of the industry, a guy with just a million ideas, beloved by his peers, beloved by his fans, sorely missed, and nobody will obviously have been feeling that more than his family. Rest in peace. a really horrible thing for anyone to have to go through. Let's wrap this section of the video up by talking about a new AEW trademark filing, and I wouldn't usually cover this kind of thing on the video, but I think this could lead to something cool. On the 18th of December, the company filed a trademark application for AEW Got the Feeling. Now, this could mean one of three things. One, they're bringing in the Black Eyed Peas. Two, they're bringing in Five, the British boy band. Or three, this is going to lead to something. Maybe a show, maybe just some branding, maybe some merch. Because the Feeling is a thing that has been spoken about by some of the younger wrestlers in this company quite a lot recently. I believe Daniel Garcia was first, talking about restoring the feeling, when AEW was subject to some criticism for utilizing maybe some older wrestlers and some sports entertainment-y tropes that weren't popular with necessarily everyone. MJF has used it as well, restoring the feeling, all of this stuff, bringing back the old vibe of the company is kind of what it refers to, I think. Whether you think they need to do that or not is entirely up to you. For me, I think the past month has been pretty damn great. The Continental Classic has gone a long way to freshening the TV up in general. Last week's Collision was actually one of my favorite TV shows of the year. It was sensational stuff. And I think they're on a good path. I think they're heading into a very healthy position, heading into World's End. If you look at the Revolution ticket sales, those are crazy, crazy good, of course. So hopefully that trajectory continues. You want all wrestling companies to do well, apart from XPW, but all the other ones, you want them to do well because they offer people an opportunity to earn a living, and they offer you as fans and myself as a fan something different to watch. If you're bored of one flavour of ice cream, as the metaphor goes in 2023, you can take a break from it and try out another one over here, and some promotions offer you a whole buffet of different things. It's a good place to be, and you want to see all of these companies thriving. So Got the Feeling, yeah, they filed the trademark application. Entertainment in the name of wrestling contests, entertainment services in the nature, development, create. I'm not going to read all of this legal mumbo jumbo. Maybe it's a pay-per-view. Maybe it's a January or a March pay-per-view or something, I don't know. But yeah, could lead to some interesting things. Maybe a new direction coming. Who knows? We'll see. We'll find out. But yeah, good to hear it. Let's move on to our Twitter/X questions. I'm not ready to let go of the word Twitter yet. Why did you have to change it, man? This is weird. I say Twitter / they didn't even come from there. These are from the YouTube community. And by the way, that's where I'll be getting my questions tomorrow from as well. So if you want to ask something for the last news video of the year in this studio, head over to the community page. There is a thread for questions. Put them down there. Fred, I can't say THs. I'm an idiot. The first one today comes from Jonathan Thornsbury, who would like to know, with how the women's roster is being booked in AEW, do you really want to see Mercedes Moné go there, or would you rather see her return to wrestle in Japan? So we did speak about this a little bit yesterday, but if you didn't catch that video, I'll just go over it again. Mercedes has been the subject of speculation everywhere. WWE, AEW, of course, staying freelance. Look, Impact just said they're signing their biggest name ever, or one of their biggest signings ever. Maybe that could be her, I don't know. But for me, personally, I think she'd kill wherever she went. I love Mercedes. Like, I've always loved Sasha Banks. She's long been one of my favourite wrestlers. And I think that some of the criticism that goes her way is extremely hyperbolic and overblown. So for me, personally, as a person who likes to watch a broad range of different companies, from the biggest to the smallest, I want to see her work everywhere. I think that her freelance run, her unsigned run, was cut short by the injury she suffered in May. So, as a result, I would like to see that continue. I would not like to see Mercedes sign anywhere this year, personally. Does that work for her? Maybe not. If it doesn't, she should do what's best for her, not what's best for some idiot on a news video. But I'd love to see her in Japan. I'd love to see her do some AEW dates. I'd love to see her do some Mexico dates, go to CMLL. That company's had an incredible 2023. Why the hell not? I'd like to see her mixing it up with some of the best in the world around the world. But if she did go back to WWE, for example, I think she'd crush it. And if she went to AEW, I think she'd lift that company up as well, because she'd immediately be one of the best anywhere she lands. So shout outs to Mercedes, but my short answer is, yeah, Japan freelance stuff, America freelance stuff, Mexico freelance stuff, maybe some European stuff. everywhere. Wrestle everywhere. It's good for the business. Next question today comes from, who does it come from? My phone is stupid too. Jason Fratto, who says, hello, my favourite baldman. What? You've given me a cough there, Jason. How dare you? What are 3 things on your wrestling wish list for 2024? I've got 3 for AEW and 3 for WWE, given that those are the 2 companies that we cover the most. Let's do the AEW ones first. Bring back the rankings. I love that sport-like framework. I think they've really added something to the company, and their absence has been felt. I think the Continental Classic has shown the value of a wins and losses matter type framework, and I'd love to see the rankings make a comeback. A lot of people had a lot of very silly conversations about the rankings when they were in play, but they were a net positive. Bring them back, Tony. That'd be great. Butcher and Blade back on television more often. Where's my boys? I know they've been on Ring of Honor, and I love that they're getting some shine over there, but I love the Butcher and the Blade. They're my favourite tag team. Get them on Dynamite and Collision more often. I'd love to see that. I love those guys. And finally for AEW, Jamie Hayter come back. Obviously, very serious injury, and you'd hope she'd be back at some point in 2024, but that's definitely on my wish list. She is the absolute best, and I can't wait to see her hopefully win the big one in Wembley, or something really cool when she comes back, because she rules. WWE wish list, bring back King of the Ring. As a proper pay-per-view. Hunter, like he's my friend. Triple H is a wrestling nerd. He's a historian and a dork, so he has got to be into this as well. I'd love to see them run King of the Ring as a proper pay-per-view with most of the matches playing out on the pay-per-view, PLE, whatever. Qualifiers, make it feel big, make it feel important, do a men's one concurrent with a women's one. It would be really sick. Let's do that in the new year. 2 nights, why the hell not? Let's go, let's make it silly. Love King of the Ring. Gunther to win a world title is my second one. Incredible Intercontinental title reign, maybe the best ever, and when it ends, he should go right the way to the top. And number 3, change the production up a little bit. That's a personal one for me. I know a lot of people really love the WWE style of production. For me, it's a little bit too shiny, a little bit too camera cutty, a little bit too glossy. I like some grit in there. It doesn't have to go full on ECW or indie or whatever, but just like a little bit of a wrestling edge, so it feels like a little less overproduced. That's for me. It might not be for you. Let us know your wish lists down in the comment section below. Final question here comes from Mark Anthony Lowe, who says, hey there goats, must be me in the microphone, from the Philippines here. Shout outs to the Philippines. If The Rock were to be available for a WrestleMania, would you be willing to put off Cody finishing his story until Money in the Bank or SummerSlam? I would actually do the opposite. If The Rock is available at some point this year to wrestle, fair enough, if he's only there for Mania, it's a difficult conversation. But if The Rock can wrestle this year, I'm having Cody finish the story at Mania regardless, and I'm doing The Rock at like SummerSlam and Roman or something like that. Because Mania is going to be a huge attraction regardless, right? It's going to sell out. It's going to make an astronomical amount of money. There's going to be so much cool stuff on there, from potentially Cody versus Roman, maybe Punk versus Seth, maybe Punk versus Steve Austin on there. You could do like Rhea versus Becky. There's going to be an abundance of incredible stuff on there. You can do it without The Rock. And if you put The Rock on a different show, like SummerSlam, you make it gigantic and you create another event that can rival the biggest show of the year. So that's what I would do, the opposite. I also think that after losing last year, it's a bit more poetic if Cody wins in the WrestleMania main event this year. It's a bit cooler. It's a nicer visual across the board. That's what I would do. Hey, thanks for joining me today. Check out this video right here. If you enjoyed this one, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.